Streaming clicked, and we should be live now.
Good morning, everybody. This is James coming at you from the Oil Drop Podcast. As per usual, I'm joined by Arun, Arunatic5 on Reddit, and Adam, Sweet44722. It's been quite a while since we've had an episode here, but we're going to still try and keep it pretty compact here today. The first topic that we're going to sort of go over is the World Junior Championships that just wrapped up. I think everyone has something to say about that. Everyone's got an opinion. Canada, as a country, comes in second. What are your guys' reactions to the tournament in general? How did you think Canada was going to do? Who stood out in a good and a bad way? Adam, go ahead and start that.
I'm actually more surprised they actually made it to the final and lost because of the way they were playing against every team except Sweden, really. They frankly didn't look like they deserved to be in the finals until the semifinals. The fact that they lost is, sucks, but USA had a good team this year, and Canada really didn't show up for a lot of times. With that said, the gold medal game was amazing, and the way it ended in a shootout obviously chafed a lot of Canadian fans, and they were okay with it back when Taze and Price happened to win it. But at the same time, even back then, I think it's a terrible way to end a gold medal game in a shootout. Like it's the last game of the tournament. Play the damn game out. Don't stop it and have a shootout after a 20-minute ridiculous OT in which they were back and forth chances and everyone's loving it. Mm-hmm. Stupid.
I don't know. I'm of the opinion where I like the shootout, where it's like a really high tension moment to really cap it off. I'm of a weird opinion where I understand that the shootout's a lot on luck, but I still like it just because, sometimes when the teams are so evenly matched, you just got to look at, who's luckier at that time. As much as it pains people to hear that.
No, but I get it. I get it on a regular season game. Like, okay, you have a game going back and forth for 60 minutes. Okay, you have an OT that goes back and forth for 3 on 3 for 5 minutes. Nobody scores somehow. Then you go to a shootout. That makes sense because they have to play another game the next day. In a gold medal game in a tournament, in a one-off tournament, that shouldn't happen.
This is also they're like third of 4 games, or third game of like the past 4 days, isn't it?
But it's
a very compact schedule. Like we're talking like Canada's talking play 2 games every 3 days, that kind of thing.
I know that, but you go to the the Olympics, and then it happens to be a tie in overtime, so they go to a shootout. That'd be you'd be upset about that too.
No, I wouldn't.
Well, then why? Like, it completely ruins attention.
I don't know.
It's like after all this, it becomes a gimmick. Like, I don't hate the shootout, but I hate the shootout in that instance because it's like, okay, so you go to the playoffs, it's game 7 playoffs.
It just might happen to do with like the time that I was raised and the sport that I initially came from. But like, I came from soccer, and I think soccer shootout is absolutely BS. But like, I won't argue it any other way. There needs to be a soccer shootout. Because the tension is just that much fun too.
Soccer's a different game though. Like you're less likely to score in soccer than you are in hockey. Even with the goal, even when we can talk about the goals dropping, there's still a higher goals per game average in the NHL than there is in every other soccer league on the planet.
Yeah, but
except for maybe like high school in Colorado, or whatever.
I don't know.
It's to me, it's just like if you can move a final game of a series to any other series and say it's bullshit at that point, it's still bullshit to be on the line. Like Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, that'd be a terrible way to end the season. But they play a game every second.
That's 2 different beasts entirely, Adam. Because like in one game, hold on, shut up. There's 2 different beasts entirely, Adam. The first one, we're talking about a situation in which it's just one game. This one game determines the whole shebang. To begin with, do you think, and then in the other situation, we're talking about a 7-game series, where you're talking about an average of 7 games. I don't think it's going to work out to be the same thing. It's 2 different beasts entirely. One is...
For the tournament, you're talking about an average of how many games did they play? 7? Over the course of the tournament?
No. Though. What?
So they played a combination of 7 games.
Yeah, if you make it the whole way through, right?
That's what I'm saying. This is the whole way through. It's the same thing with the season. Like, there's just it's a compact schedule.
No, I still don't see it. Sorry.
I just think it's a stupid way to end the tournament.
We're gonna leave that as differential opinions there.
I gotta agree with Adam on this one. I wanted it to go to more OT. The OT was fantastic, to say the least. So I don't know. I was okay with that continuing on. Again, sort of what you guys already covered, though. I mean, Canada didn't really show up until the semifinal game against Sweden. They played like a solid 4 out of 10 in the quarterfinals against the Czechs, and then against a stronger opponent, they played way better. It's just weird how that happens sometimes. I don't know.
Hey, at least
and then as far as individual players goes, obviously Thomas Chabot, tournament MVP, defenseman. It's the first time that a defenseman has ever been given the MVP award at the tournament. So that was kind of crazy.
Sure.
I don't think he had a particularly high scoring total, but I really like Tyson Jost.
Yeah.
I love the way that he plays.
Radish, too. I like the way what he brought forward.
Yeah, Radish is great, too. Radish can come back next year, thankfully.
I don't think he will, though. I'm thinking he's going to get the call-up.
He's a Tampa draft pick. They'll marinate him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I feel bad for him. Like any Tampa draft pick, really. For me, my highlights were Radish. I thought Carter Hart was having a little bit of a shaky tournament, but I did like the fact that he came into that Sweden game and provided that key support that they really needed and made some key stops. Still had a shaky tournament on the whole. And for me, it was all about how do you pronounce his freaking name? Chabot. Oh, there it is. Okay. Chabot was my highlight because for the most part, I felt as though he was the one, based upon the minutes that he was playing, carrying the team so far, as far as they went, rather.
What do you think about the no-shows then for Canada? So Dylan Strome, even though he scored a fair bit, was said to have played absolutely shit. Pierre-Luc Dubois didn't score a single goal. Matt Barzal decided that he didn't have any teammates for half the tournament.
Yeah.
So what do you guys make of that?
I purely think that's on the coaching staff. The coaching staff fell for the old Eakin strap, where the Eakin strap is, these are my best players. We're down, and we need to score, or we're tied and we need to score. So I'm going to keep playing these guys over and over and over because they give me the best chance to score. But the thing is, sometimes when your head hits the wall, you have to try some other alternatives. And they didn't go for that. And I'm talking current coaching staff, by the way. I'm talking about old coaching staff. Specifically the one. Anyway, that's what I thought. It wasn't really on the players because sometimes you just, I don't know, it just shit happens, and if shit is happening, then you gotta expect the coaching staff to make the adjustments, and they didn't. So in my opinion, it's on them. James.
Well, the no-shows, I mean, Dubois gets the most crap for it. Barzal, he scored at over a point a game, but he was super selfish a lot of the time. It was really frustrating to see. I think that he could have utilized his line mates a lot better. I'm not sure who he played the most with, but man, it was really frustrating watching him be a puck hog, essentially. So Barzal, Dubois, and who was the other one? Strome. I don't think Strome was that bad. He wasn't terrific, and I don't think he was a great captain. I think that's what the issue was. I probably would have put Chabot as captain, but I think that's what people are getting mixed up with.
I can understand why in some circles Strome was getting more flack than Dubois is, and I can understand sort of why. But at the end of the day, the key question mark is, the key aspect is, results are the only thing that matter, and in that sense, Dubois only didn't have a single goal to his name, and that's crazy. Where, in my opinion, I am, the Dubois question comes into play. But that being said, I still think that he can make the transition into the NHL, although I no longer think it's going to happen with Columbus Blue Jackets, and it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out.
So what I'm wondering for you guys then is, on the Oilers side of the World Juniors, so we obviously had Caleb Jones won the gold with USA, but we had Ethan Bear that was the highest scoring defenseman in the WHL and left off.
Second highest.
So
Wasn't
second
it?
highest.
He was the second highest at the time.
I thought yeah. So with that said, should Canada have taken Ethan Bear, and how do you guys think Caleb Jones played?
Caleb Jones, I think as a whole, was a little unimpressive. It felt as though he was carried by McAvoy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm doing everything off the top of my head right now, and I'm horrible with names. In terms of Ethan Bear, I'm just, the defense had a lot of miscues where they were in the wrong places. They left guys open, and the coverage was poor. But I don't know. From year to year, with the amount of scoring that happens in these tournaments, I just accept the fact that that's going to happen, mostly because these players haven't played together. So I'm not too sure whether or not Team Canada would have been an advantage to taking Ethan Bear, and even if they had, I think he would have been like the 7th D and not have played. James?
Yeah. Caleb Jones, I'm pretty sure he was paired with Charlie McAvoy as well. Charlie McAvoy was a
phenomenal
beast. Oh man, he was phenomenal.
Whose pick is that? Sorry,
Canadian. I have no idea, but I wish he was Canadian. I want to say the Rangers.
I don't think so.
He's
another one of those richest kind of guy. Or the rich get richer. For prospects, at the very least.
So Chicago, Boston Bruins.
Boston Bruins is it?
So, yeah. So he was drafted by the Boston Bruins in the first round of the 2016 draft.
That was one of the 3 picks they had.
No, that was in the 2015 draft.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So I don't know. Boston, it's early, not even a year out, but Boston looks like they really hit a home run with that pick. Like he was great. Caleb Jones was fine. Yeah, I don't know. He was fine, and then whether or not I would have taken Ethan Bear, probably not. I don't think
I would have at least invited him to camp. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, I don't know who he would have replaced though. That's the thing. Like, who would he have replaced?
Initially, it would have been Lazan, but at the end of the tournament, probably. It's you really can't name somebody. The issue with the tournaments, like Arun mentioned, is that they're so high scoring that you almost need offensive defensemen just to cover up the defensive mistakes you're inevitably going to make. Just because A, you haven't played with anybody else, and B, at that level, defensemen are currently being overwhelmed by really strong, really developed forwards.
What about then Tyler Benson? Because we covered Ethan Bear. What are your thoughts on Tyler Benson not getting the call here?
Tyler Benson not getting invited to the camp was surprising, but I mean, Sam Steele didn't make the team, and I would have Sam Steele on the team way before Benson. So
yeah, that didn't. That honestly, as a coaching staff decision, didn't make sense to me. Understandably, Sam Steele had an average to above average camp, but I felt as though that was enough for him to get the call, especially with the way that he was playing in the WHL, right?
Yeah, he plays for the Regina Pats.
Yes.
Hockey Canada politics sometimes are just over the top stupid.
And one thing I do want to clarify for our audience here is that what we mean by politics, Hockey Canada politics, isn't, they're going out there and they're making up, they're deciding that this is going to be your guy from the very get-go. It's just like slight favors here and there, and slight preferences here and there because people are just inherently biased. But at the same time, that's why you need like a little bit of deviation here and there for things to work, for difference of opinions to come in and so on.
Yeah, I don't know who Sam Steele would have replaced on the team. Like Pierre-Luc Dubois, he's got the name, he's got the draft pedigree. We knew that we knew that he was gonna make the team.
Exactly. That's where the problem comes in. Is like right now the politics is if you're a high draft pick, your chances of getting in the team and the camp are higher. Like I think one of the key reasons that Ethan Bear didn't get the call was because he was a really low pick. Like I think one of the key reasons that Ethan Bear didn't get the call was because he was a really low pick. Like I think one of the key reasons that Ethan Bear didn't get the call was because he was a really low pick. Like I think one of the key reasons that Ethan Bear didn't get the call was because he was a really low pick. Like I think one of the key reasons that Ethan Bear didn't get the call was because he was a really low pick. Like I think one of the key reasons that Ethan Bear didn't get the call was because he was a really low pick. Like I think one of the key reasons that Ethan Bear didn't get the call was because he was a really low pick. Like I think one of the key reasons that Ethan Bear didn't get the call was because he was a really low pick. Like I think one of the key reasons that Ethan Bear didn't get the call was because he was a really low pick. Like I think one of the key reasons that Ethan Bear didn't get the call was because he was a really low pick. Like I think one of the key reasons that
and he's not like, where does he play again? The Winterhawks, is it?
Yep. Portland Winterhawks.
Portland Winterhawks,
yeah. Okay.
They're
so
really
like
high scoring.
he plays in the US division of the WHL, like definitely out of sight, out of mind, I think, for a lot of people. Like, I don't know if people really know him.
They
that well.
are one of the highest scoring teams in the CHL, are they not?
Maybe.
Pretty
I don't
sure.
know.
The Portland Winterhawks are notorious for that. They're like the London Knights of the WHL, in my opinion.
I know. A couple of years ago, they had the weirdest, most frustrating transitional. Like, they had Ryan Johansson, and they had Nino Niederreiter, and they had Ty Ratty, and Nicholas Patan. Seth Jones was there for a year. Like, that stunk. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Nick Patan, that's a name I have not heard in a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's stuck with the Jets this year, but I don't think he's doing too hot.
No. That's also where the concern comes in, where, like, yeah, all these players, like, some were key, some weren't. I mean, you look no further than, Griffin Reinhart as an example, where he had a really great, both Memorial Cup tournament and also a fairly sure he had a good World Juniors, unless I'm mistaken.
Sorry, who?
Griffin Reinhart.
Griffin.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was the number one for the 2014 tournament.
Yeah, and he just couldn't pan it out in the NHL. Or work it out.
Yeah.
How about we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, so I'll just sort of jump into the next topic here. It's still with regards to the World Juniors. Attendance was an obvious issue throughout the tournament. Do you think that the event should be scaled down and brought back to smaller locales such as Halifax and or Winnipeg and or Red Deer and or Kelowna? What do you guys think?
I think they should go to non-Canadian cities every once in a while. Not North American cities every once in a while. That's my opinion. I feel as though this is like a great opportunity, especially because it's younger players. It's a great opportunity for them to grow the game in other areas, and that's like for IIHF to be sustainable, they need to grow it in other areas because they can't rely on Canadian everything. Adam?
I mean, it always has been, always will be an issue with the tournament where the big names, Canada, Russia, Sweden, USA, will draw the big matches and big crowds, and every other teams playing for relegation, so it's Germany, Latvia, Finland this year for some weird-ass reason. Those teams aren't going to get a lot of views. It's just the way it always has been. It's the way it always will be. Doesn't matter if you're playing in Sweden, in Russia, in Canada, in the US. It's just the nature of IIHF hockey. And with the tournament times sometimes, because they have to play during the week, on a Tuesday night game, Latvia versus Germany or some lower Czech Republic versus Sweden, you're not going to have a lot of viewers those games. You're going to have fans for one team show up, some fans for the other, and it doesn't matter the size of the rink. There's going to be empty seats. So I don't think it needs to be scaled down. Maybe every second, third time, it'll be kind of nice to have a tournament in a smaller city just so they get the experience too. Mm-hmm. But then again, you also get overrun with Canadian tourists, and the prices go up, and it causes chaos in the town for that week.
Yeah, it's a tough balancing act because junior hockey is supposed to be a small town thing, and it's supposed to be this small town feel. You can't really put it into words, but it has a feel. And when it's at the ACC and the Bell Center, I think it's kind of gotten out of control, and I would like it. I would like to see it scaled down again. Like the last time I remember, it was in a small place. I think it was Halifax, 2003. I think it was, and that was the last small Canadian place. After that, it was like Vancouver 06, and then it was Ottawa, and then Regina and Saskatoon had it. Like that's pretty much like as big as I'd want to go, really. Regina, Saskatoon had it in 2010.
So, but that would mean that Edmonton never gets it.
So what? Then that means Red Deer gets it.
But to me, it's the kind of thing where.
Then that means that Lethbridge gets it.
Well, what about a dual like Saskatoon and Regina, where the bigger city obviously gets the bigger rink, so they have bigger matchups. So Sweden, Russia, Canada, USA, stuff like that, versus the smaller town will get the Czech Republic and Sweden. Or
it's tough to say. I mean, like that's what they probably are going for the next time that it's in Canada, because they have it in Vancouver and Victoria. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you've ever been to Victoria, but Victoria is like a retirement city. It's not that big. It's not that crazy.
I mean, that's half of BC. But...
yeah, Victoria would be a great place to have it, as far as I'm concerned. It's not that big, but I don't know. I don't know what to do, because obviously Hockey Canada wants the profits.
The other side for me is that a lot of these guys will never play in the NHL, right? Aside from Canada, USA, some exceptions from Sweden and Russia, a lot of these guys are going to be playing in their home countries. They're not going to be playing anymore as the last year. To experience something like a grand scale tournament in some of the biggest venues on the planet for hockey is something I think that maybe they'd want to experience, even if it's quiet in the stadium.
They would want to experience it, but I don't think that we owe it to them.
No, but that's the point, right? If it draws the crowds for the big games, then it's not worth it.
Well, what's a big crowd? I mean, I don't know where Victoria's venue is going to be, but it's probably where their WHL team is. Like, I don't know the capacity there.
No.
Victoria, what's their name again? Victoria Royals, I think they're called.
Is it Victoria Royals? Oh.
I don't know.
Sounds about right.
I'm going to look up the capacity of their team real quick.
I'm going to guess probably 12K, 10 or 12K.
7,400. That's that's pretty small. Yeah. For WHL. Well, I don't know. That's probably about average for a WHL team.
But see, that's the thing, is that if you have a big matchup like Canada versus USA, if you can fill a $20,000 or 20,000 person stadium, then.
Well, I don't think that they would ever. I don't think that they would ever put Canada in the group that participates at that location. Like Canada will play in Vancouver at GM Place or Canada Hockey Place or whatever you want to call it.
So then the real solution is to have a big city paired with a small city.
Maybe.
Ideally.
I mean, Edmonton paired with Red Deer, or Calgary paired with Red Deer, or Toronto paired with Hamilton's not small, like Hamilton and London, let's say, or Hamilton and Windsor, or I don't know.
It just seems to me that like the small scale cities, like you try to cram 7,000 people in for Canada versus USA, that's not going to work. The tickets will go for like $2,000 each.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen though. I feel like
that's the other aspect.
Canada would just make it so that they don't play there.
That's the other aspect of the big venues, is that even for the smaller matchups, people can get tickets to them. And the point of the World Juniors is to experience up and coming hockey players, not have to wait in line for 4 hours to get tickets for this one game, which would frankly happen on a smaller scale, and yet they make more money and attendance would be better. But then you're kind of cutting off a large point of the tournament where it's kids go see them on the weekdays, take it off from school, or reporters cutting their teeth, get to go cover the tournament. So that's a way to interact with the players and on a small scale and not feel like they have to go through this whole process. They had a media pass and everything. It's like you said, it's kind of a weird mix between keeping the tournament small and then keeping the tournament accessible.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a tough balancing act. I don't know what the solution is, but like this World Juniors it's a slap in the face. Like change is inevitable almost, I feel like. I mean, you can't charge $200 to see junior hockey. You just can't.
Okay.
Hi, Arun.
Hi, sorry, I am relatively sick, so I had to grab some hot water.
Okay.
Any objections to Pat moving on to the next topic? Because we're about 20-some minutes in now.
Yeah, let's start moving a little faster here. The NHL topics. We're going to swoop back to NHL. Columbus Blue Jackets win streak snapped at 16 games. What did you guys think about that whole journey for them?
Their losing streak right now is unsustainable. Adam? Sorry. Okay. I'm memeing here. Adam?
I thought they played well. It's they have what, 7 losses in regulation now, I guess, after they lost the other day. But they played like a team that was winning 16. It wasn't some fluke. So I think they're going to be a strong team to watch in the playoffs, which is something sounds weird saying about Columbus.
Yeah. Did you want them to beat the record of 17?
No.
Kind of, just because it's kind of fun to see history. We obviously saw Jaromir Jagr be the second all-time scoring leader in history a couple weeks ago. So it would have been kind of nice to have a season where they at least tie or break the all-time streak record. But at the same time, it doesn't really make a difference to me. It's not my team.
Yeah. I didn't want them to beat the record. I don't know why. I'm like a sucker for history or something. I don't know. I didn't want them to beat the record, and Columbus is one of those teams where I'm like, you guys don't deserve it.
Dang, son. For me, I think I'm gonna make a little bit of a longer point here. I think that Columbus Blue Jackets that we're gonna see for the next season is gonna be quite streaky. They're gonna put up a lot of wins in a row and a lot of losses in a row, and that comes down to the way that they play. It is super team focused. Is the best way that I can describe it. And obviously, every team, the way that they're playing is team focused. But how it works is that at every situation where the puck is, there's always another guy that's supposed to be coming in and helping out in a way where the initial guy can take control of the puck, or the other guy will be there to take control right after. Now, obviously, this sounds a lot like what other NHL teams are doing, and it's hard for me to describe this properly without visuals. But I would say just watch them play is the easiest way to describe it. And I think what we saw with the last, not the last game, but the game before, they started scrambling all over the place. And that's the problem that it can lead to is playing such a loose style can cause panic very easily. So what Columbus is doing right now in terms of their winning streak was they were forcing teams basically into their tempo. And when they lost, how it worked was other teams ended up playing to that tempo and letting Columbus get themselves lost in their own, chaos, I guess.
Okay.
It's hard to properly describe this and explain this without actually having any good visuals on hand. And I guess the best way for me to put it is next time we meet, I can find some clips so you guys can see it more effectively. But it's also, in my opinion, why they were able to shut down McDavid so effectively in the 2 games that we played. Just because McDavid doesn't have that much chemistry with his wingers, and in order for you to do well against that team, you need clicking lines, really high chemistry lines. Anyway.
Okay, well, I mean, it's a good thing that they're having that success there now because their number 1 prospect, Pierre-Luc Dubois, is obviously already a bust. So
let's not count our chickens before they hatch. But yeah, I'm just happy they didn't.
Everyone memes there again.
I just hope. I'm just happy that they didn't hit 17 because online forums are starting to get annoying. That's the best way to describe it.
All right. Adam, do you have anything else to add there before I start the Oilers topics?
Nope.
No? Okay. So after their 2-1 win over New Jersey last night, Saturday night, the Oilers have a 94.5% chance of making the playoffs this year.
That's sustainable.
What do you guys think? How are you feeling? Do you guys still feel like we're building a house of cards here, or what's going on? Adam, go ahead.
I'm still, after a decade, it's a house of cards, but it's a house of cards that's slowly being
we're adding super glue.
Yeah, no, it's being solidified. So it's like you're adding rubber cement and it's slowly hardening and it's coming together and it's a weird thing to see after so long, but it's also more the thing where it's like, okay, well, this team can consistently win one of every 2 games, or at least 2 of every 4 games. Where it's, they're not going to lose 12 in a row, they're not going to win 16 in a row. It's going to be a regular NHL team that happens to be above average. So they might make playoffs. And it's like at this point, 94%, it was 94.5, it's not guaranteed, but it's up in the chances that it takes something pretty special for us to not make the playoffs right now, and that's a good feeling for sure. That's something you haven't been able to see in a while.
Okay.
To add to the good feeling, during the decade that we've been out of the playoffs, the highest chance that we had at this point in time, or coming into the final rush, second half of the season, that kind of thing, was during that lockout shortened season where at one point in time we were a point out of a playoff spot, or we were in a playoff spot, though temporarily, and our chance for making the playoffs were 55%. This is a dramatic improvement to that. But that being said, I'm until that thing hits 100%. I think there's no guarantees. And one of the key things I think is happening this season, it can be a good thing, bad thing, I'm not sure, is that our losses are not 0-point losses anymore. We're taking a bunch of points every time we lose, like the 1 point, the loser point, basically. And that's key in all of this, and that's what's actually making us go as far as we are. Though it would be nice to get 2 points instead of 1 out of them. And also the other situation where we don't let them tie the game late and have to play the OT or the shootout.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. James?
I don't know. It's kind of like what Adam said. It's weird to see the team slowly coming together. I think that they still need to get a backup goalie.
Yep.
Because they clearly have no confidence in Gustafsson, and B, I'd like to see another center brought in, probably maybe a third line center if we can load up the first line with Draisaitl and McDavid, have Nuge on the second line, another third line center, and keep Letestu on the fourth line. I would like that, but I mean. That's it. I don't know. It's a weird thing to see coming together, and I'm still waiting for the 15-game losing streak to be aged. So
yeah.
For me, the concerning part is, sorry, is when you move into the last half of the season, fatigue becomes an issue, and fatigue with the players we've been playing is a concern, but not priority. The concern becomes for me with how much Cam Talbot's played, because. As you get further on, you obviously have more risk from injury, but more so than that, if you play 60 games in a season and then you go into playoffs and you're expecting to make, obviously a run for the cup, not necessarily this year, but you now have a tired goalie that has to play even better than he has before and is being counted on more.
Mm-hmm.
So I think backup goalie is probably going to be a deadline move, but almost should happen earlier.
I think it just happened earlier too.
It's a weird.
I think Shia is a deadline trader, isn't he?
I don't know.
Depends on the situation, really.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but I feel like I said, they have no confidence in Gustafsson, and if they don't have confidence in him, get him out of here.
Right.
Talbot's going to end up playing 70-plus games this year at this pace, and that's absurd. That's Henrik Lundqvist numbers. That's craziness.
Yeah. To add to all of that, actually one of the reasons perhaps that Cam Talbot is starting as much as he has is that the Oilers, I think they are the team with the fewest back-to-back games this season with only 5 or 7.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
We have the most favorable schedule in terms of back-to-back games this season.
I didn't know that.
And that was like a conspiracy that they wanted us to finally make the playoffs kind of thing.
The more you know.
Yep. Anywho.
I'm just checking.
Yeah, continuing on with the Oilers here.
Goalies here.
Oh yeah, who do you want?
No, like I'm looking at um, their stats because Laurent Brossoit played 20 games, and he's kind of, I mean, he's average right now. He's a 909 and a 270. Whereas Nick Ellis is at 11 games played and at a 251 and a 923. So, I don't know if the solution is available in the AHL this year. Like obviously last year we brought up, was it 2 years? That was last year. We brought up.
It was last year.
Brossoit for a few games, and he didn't do all that well. So it's one of those things where we might actually have to go and trade Gustafsson and a pick for backup goalie to some team that's not going to be making, like, maybe Domingue is probably not moving anywhere, but like.
But who? That's the thing that I'm.
Obviously, we go for Marc-Andre Fleury.
I mean,
easy peasy lemon squeezy.
You want someone that their contract is expiring after this year, because in a perfect world, we're going to have Brossoit be the backup for next year.
Yeah. So then that's the issue, is that there's not really any starters or backups that we can really acquire for a cheap price.
Let's see here. We could trade for Jonathan Bernier. Anaheim's going to the playoffs, so that's a no-go.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should try Nick Ellis in the backup role.
We could trade for Anders Nilsson from Buffalo.
They're on to a playoff spot as well, aren't they?
Or
God no.
What, Buffalo?
Buffalo is like shit this year again.
What do you? Hold on, let me look at the standings. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's slim pickings, and I you can't bring back Anders Nilsson. I think he was better than he's better than Gustafsson, but we traded him away. He wouldn't even want to come back here. God, he would play like shit on purpose.
Buffalo's 26 in the NHL run.
Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. Well, shit. They were winning a bunch in a row. I don't know why they fell so hard.
They got injuries upon injuries.
Mm.
Robin Leonard's like one of the few players that hasn't been injured long term this year, and that's rare.
Okay, I'm gonna skip to the next topic.
Shoot, let's go.
The Oilers recalled Lander from the AHL again. What do you guys think? Are they giving him one last shot in the NHL, or are they showcasing him for a trade and or expansion draft?
I am of the opinion that having a player like Lander is necessary for a team. Like, he's the depth player that can come in and, play those minutes, penalty kill, all that kind of stuff, and basically stick in there, and also help your AHL team when we have, like, we're not plentiful on injuries. In my opinion, then, I think we just keep him around, if possible, unless he's taken in the expansion draft. But if he gets taken in the expansion draft, we're not going to cry river about it, right? Adam?
He won't be taking in the expansion draft. Compared to players like Davidson, Pouliot, Kyra.
It doesn't have to be one of our players that's taken in the expansion draft, right?
Yeah, I think it's just
one of our players has to be taken.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that it's like, but you look at it and you go, okay, well, of those players, who do you take? Anton Lander, who's never had an NHL success, or Brendan Davidson or Benoit Pouliot, who've been proven, Kyra, who's a prospect, or Brossoit, who's a goalie prospect. Like, Lander won't be taken. But the point is, I don't know if, like this, when we last time we went down, he said he was done. And now he's up and playing again. So to me, this seems more of a showcase than anything else. But showcase for what? Like a deadline trade for maybe a backup and prospect, like, or with a pick for prospect? I don't know. Like, it's
maybe you could trade him for a backup goalie. I don't know. Package him with Gustafsson for something else. I don't know. Like, deals are hard to make. Like, we just spew bullshit like this. Like, it's easy to do, and trades are hard. So yeah, not a whole lot else to really discuss there. I think I'm going to skip forward to our last topic here. So, trade deadline is coming up within the next about 6 weeks or so. Assuming that the Oilers are still in a good playoff position in 6 weeks, who specifically are you guys targeting for trade deadline deals?
Obviously, Jerome McGinn. Just kidding. I don't know.
Not a terrible option, as long as they retain salary.
And they decide to. He has a no trade clause, doesn't he? That he has
Yeah,
to
I
wait?
think he would come here though, just for the laws. I don't know. I think he would come here.
Hometown playoff team.
Yeah.
Or back to
Yeah.
Calgary because they're on that case for playoffs too.
Oh, you know what? It's gonna be Jamie Benn. He's a free agent coming up in 2017.
Jamie Benn.
Yeah, he's a free agent coming up in 2017.
No way. No, he's not.
In the meantime,
Jamie Benn? Jordy
has
Benn,
told
maybe.
Mike Hike
Not Jamie Benn.
This article
Jamie
is
Benn is signed
from
with
May
Brooklyn.
18th, so signings may have happened. But he still needs to be
Signings
signed.
Pretty sure you got signed this year.
Damn it. Okay.
Yeah. Specifically,
Joe.
Martin Hansel, I think, could slide into that third line center role for Edmonton really well. He's played with Phoenix for his entire year, or for his entire career. Once again, Phoenix is going absolutely nowhere this year. You know, he's a UFA, and I think that they're anticipating Dylan Strome and Christian Dvorak to become, you know, their centers of the future, so he can come here and play for 25 games or so, hopefully play for us in the playoffs, and then just go somewhere else. That's the ideal. I think Martin Hansel could be a nice pickup for us.
As heads up, Ben signed an 8 years, $76 million contract.
Yeah, I saw it, yeah.
So,
Kevin Shattenkirk is a possibility as well, isn't he?
well, the Blues are in a playoff spot, are they not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's not signing with the Blues.
No, but my point is that they're not going to trade somebody they're going to use in the playoffs because they'd rather use them for the playoffs and then lose them in the season than gain something for them and then have to play the playoffs without them.
True.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be buyers of the deadline, not sellers.
Right, that's
Yeah, there's
smart
a-
to hear.
There's different criteria that have to be met. Like it's a positional need, A, and B, it's got to be off of a team that is going nowhere.
Yeah.
And the Blues are still a pretty good team. So
So my big question is, there's obviously been a trade Pouliot campaign for the last month and a half.
And a
If
trade
we get to
Everly
the
campaign.
point where that one, yeah. But I mean, if the more sensible one to me is Pouliot, we can come back to the Everly thing in a minute. But if we look at it, if we're at the deadline and we're sellers, do you trade Pouliot at probably his lowest value ever, or do you hold on to him and hope he gets picked in the draft, or that he picks up his game again next year, which is more likely?
You gotta roll with the punches there. If Pouliot's gonna fetch you something good, then you gotta go for Pouliot. Like if a team says, "Oh, we won't, drop any salary, but we'll take on like a smaller contract," and they decide like, "Oh, this is a smaller contract than whoever they're trading off," then yeah, that might work. But in my honest opinion, just try to leave it for the expansion draft, and if that doesn't work either, then you can consider a buyout if you're not able to trade him for anything.
yeah.
Considering the way that management is treating him at the moment, buyout seems increasingly more likely.
Yeah, he's so deep in the doghouse that I don't see him coming out of it in this season,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. Like, the season's half over, and he's played like trash. Management hates him. Coaching hates him.
I don't know
He
what's
doesn't
going on
fit-
with him, to be honest, because like
Yeah, I don't.
it's so much of a stark difference compared to the rest of his seasons that he's played here. It doesn't make a lot
Every
of
season he's
sense.
ever played.
Yeah, basically.
It's just
Where like
Yeah,
he's
always been a pretty solid.
exactly like where like he's basically what Patrick Maroon is right now, and suddenly he's just gone in that factor. Except less hitting, of course.
I don't.
Yeah.
That's why I don't understand why they're kind of everyone is shitting him so hard. Like I get he's been bad for half a season, but why haven't they? I don't know. Like if you have the track history of the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years of playing good hockey in the NHL, why is he so far in the doghouse? He's having one bad season. Like yeah, he's having a super goddamn bad season, but
Injuries.
he's also a player.
The fact is that all of his other seasons that he was playing with the Oilers, he was on track for 50 points, but he didn't actually get 50 points, right? He got injured. and injuries reduced his playing time. So in that sense, like when you look at the raw numbers and the results, and he isn't that great.
The raw numbers would indicate then that he can play at a pace that even if he only played 50 games this year, he'd be on pace for 40 points, which he's not.
Yeah.
That's the point, right? So, like, even if you're playing that amount of games, he's still not in that time frame unless he picks up in the last half of the season. But it doesn't seem like with
maybe the break is what he needs. But yeah, I agree.
It's just, I mean,
okay.
So
yeah, continue. I'll just let you finish your
point. I was going to say, so then, I mean, who else do we get? Do we pick up a left wing at the deadline, or do we play people over him?
Okay, so here's some key free agents, and I'm picking up teams that have the potential or likely won't make the playoffs. So if San Jose, unlikely of course, were to fall, there is one really big free agent that might be available named Jumbo Joe Thornton himself. As well as Patrick Marleau. Also, Thomas Greiss might be available, and he's been phenomenal over there. Dmitry Kulikov, if the Panthers continue to stumble, although his possession stats leave something to be concerned at. Patrick Eves, Shane Doan, which is unlikely to happen. Jaromir Jagr. I don't know who Brian Giunta plays for anymore. I've lost track of that.
Buffalo.
Okay, Brian Giunta. Calgary looks like they could make the playoffs, but if they don't, Dennis Weidman, Ryan Miller, Burrows. Nashville looks like they're going to make the playoffs, but if they don't, Mike Ribeiro and Mike Fisher. Ales Hemsky, Andrei Pavlik. Jesus, there's so many. Vanek. Trevor Daley, Brian Campbell. Oh, Brian Campbell's making it. Not going to be traded. Sorry. Michael Neuwirth. I don't think Sam Gagner is going to leave that team now.
No. He's getting a nice long contract.
Yep. Chris Kuditz. It seems possible. And Jerome McGinley, Verbata. And potentially, based upon the fact that he's slumping right now, Patrick Sharp.
But he's injured. Really too many players. There's not too many players on that list that you go and you look at and go, okay, well, they're both cap friendly. Teams would trade them, and they're on a team that would lose, and it would help us. Like, there's not too many players that fit all that criteria. So that's.
Dallas is surprisingly not in a playoff spot.
No, they're not. No, but they've also had a ridiculous number of injuries. Like even Patrick Sharp is injured.
And their goaltending is shit.
Yep. And their defense is shit. And Klingberg is having a shit season.
Yeah. Basically, they're back into shit.
They should stack up on more forwards. I feel as though that'll work.
Parting question.
Okay.
Pull you over to the AHL. Does that happen in the next 5 games?
It better.
I hope it happens before the break. This is just it's getting ridiculous now.
Yeah. It had better.
Yeah, this is like reaching the last straw levels right now.
It's
for at least for patient fans, for fans that are quick to the punch. I'm already hearing a lot of people that are like just trading for nothing at this point. It would be more valuable.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it for us here today. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you didn't catch us live, watch the VOD on YouTube. So this is the Oil Drop Podcast. I am James, Paul McCartney, Arun, Arunatic5, and Adam, Sweet44722. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Click subscribe, follow us on Twitter, etc., etc.
Click on the ding dong bell on our page. I heard the algorithm likes that. But other than that, thanks for joining us. Peace out.
Bye.